Welcome back to Story of a Startup. Today we are here with a lovely woman that I've known for many years named Florence Barras, and she is the co-owner of Sockerbit Candy, which is a Swedish candy company based in Los Angeles. And Florence and her husband Stefan are, in my opinion, amazing entrepreneurs for us to have on the show because they really epitomize, I think, the hard work and perseverance that goes into creating a brand. And I'm really excited right now that we have her here talking about Swedish candy as well, because if you know this, Swedish candy is having a moment this year, I guess. I was just looking up some articles that said 2024 is basically the year of Swedish candy. And Florence and Stefan with their company Sockerbit were actually the first people to import Swedish candy into the US. And so they're sort of like the epitome of knowledgeable about Swedish candy. And as much as I probably want to talk a lot about the candy itself, because I absolutely love it and my kids are obsessed with it, and I don't even eat candy, and I could talk for days about how delicious their candy is, which we will talk about. But we're really here to talk about their story of how they started the business. And so Florence is here to answer our questions about her experience as an entrepreneur. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you. This is exciting. It's the first time for me doing this, so it's going to be a little bit shaky. But I think every entrepreneur has a journey. So you've been with us through many years as a neighbor, and, we share a lot of those, moments and experiences, and it's always nice to have somebody to ask, like, if this is normal. So it's always nice to keep in touch, even if you're not next door anymore.
Yes. And yes, next door was when our location for Carmela ice cream used to be pretty much next door to Sockerbit in Los Angeles for several years. And that's how we met. So, but yeah.
Jessica, was this at the Grove? Which location was this?
Yeah, at the Grove. And they're still there. So you can still visit them near the Grove in Los Angeles and go load up your bags of candy, which I highly recommend.
Florence, do you remember the speakeasy that Carmela used to have at the Grove?
I do remember, through the fridge.
The fridge, yeah.
You go through the fridge, you watch a movie. Yeah, legally, I have to probably point out that no liquor was being served there, just ice cream.
Wow.
Yeah,
that was a very cool. Like, I think everybody talk about that. Like, it was like, did you know they have a door with like the fridge? It goes through the fridge, and I'm like, what?
Yeah. No, I mean,
everybody loved it. We missed it.
Yeah, that was a fun feature of that space for sure. I do miss that. So I would love to have you start us off with kind of like how it all began, and maybe start a little bit back before like what were you doing before you got into the Swedish candy business, and then how did you guys transition into being the first people to import Swedish candy into the US?
So I was living in Spain together with Stefan. I mean, I was studying. I studied politics. I studied international politics, so nothing to do with candy. And Stefan was working for another Swedish company at the time. And then we started working together for another candy company. But then we wanted it to change locations, basically. So we started looking, and we said, where do we want to live? We basically flipped a coin, and we ended up in two different options. So one was Singapore. That was kind of like our first option. And then our second option was New York. And then obviously we went for the hardest one, and that was New York. So I was studying, and then I started working like little things, and Stefan was working with another company. He did business. And so nothing exciting before this. I was like, finishing my uni, and so everything just came organically. It was not like something that we were like, our family did this. Or it's just something that came to us. We grateful with before we had the opportunity to work in the candy business as employees. And then we just wanted to move out of Europe before we started our family, and we just wanted to try something new. So that's when everything started. But it was more like, it just happened.
So you're from Argentina. He's from Sweden, but you guys met in Spain?
Yes.
Okay. And then, so this was your first entrepreneurial experience, was starting this business?
Yeah. So basically this was our first one, and we put everything we had. We sold everything we had, and we moved to New York. We signed a lease for 10 years. When you're foreign, before you get a visa, an investor visa, you need to make all the investments, and then you apply for the visa. So we put everything we had into it. We signed a 10-year lease in the West Village, and here we are.
That's kind of scary, but really, that's a big leap to take. Here's my whole life savings, and wow, that's pretty impressive.
We opened New York with less than $10 in our account.
I love that. It's so inspiring to hear that, because that really shows what you can build from basically nothing. And and what do you feel like was in the two of you that you felt confident enough or bold enough to sell everything, put everything in, end up with $10, and believe in yourself to do what you were doing? What was that driving force? Was it something powerful between the two of you, when you got together, that you felt you could do this thing and you had a vision? Or I'm curious.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of many things. The first thing that I remember, I think the best thing that happened to us is we were so blind in wanted to do this that we didn't listen to anybody that says, you guys are crazy, that's not going to happen. It's just candy, it's a very low budget or low product. It's not that you're selling something that is a higher end. And so you need to work on the volume. New York is a very tough city, but it's an amazing city to start. When you start something in New York, then everybody looks at that something, even if it's small. So that's why we chose New York over Singapore. So, but I think, yes, Stefan is my soul and my best friend, and we love working together. We are 24/7 together. Mm-hmm. He's not here because he's getting the kids from school. Mm-hmm. But I think that makes a big difference when you have your other half as strong as you, because otherwise it's really hard to start a business when the other part is going in a different direction. I think it takes, I admire a lot of my friends that they're entrepreneurs and they do it on their own, and their husbands, they have a different job. And it's really hard to spin at night and then to say, hey, what, because you panic many times. So I think it's a combination of many things, but Eyes on the Prize was our thing. We just wanted to do it, and we had each other, and we believe in each other, and we just went forward, and we didn't listen to anything. It's just we were okay, that's it, gamble at all and go in.
Oh, how old were you guys when you were all in?
Oh, I was 30. Because I'm 45 now, so I was 30, and so Stefan is almost 50, so 35. So, yeah.
Yeah,
But I think that's the main thing. Just go forward, not listening, and, just try it. Give it a try. There was no other option. Also, we didn't have a plan B. We have no family money. It's not that you're like, suddenly your business doesn't work. And then, it's either that or you go back to your 9 to 5 and work for somebody else and start all over again. So I think that's also when you don't have that plan B is when you put everything into it, which is very hard to, I think, for anybody that is trying to do a business. They always try to keep 50-50. And I think some people can do it. Some people, it's really hard to give 50% when you start something.
It's great advice.
Yeah, you touched on a couple of really important things that I think are very spot on for entrepreneurs. And I was asked to do a talk in February at UC Santa Barbara about being an entrepreneur. And those were two of the things I mentioned was put the blinders up, basically, and don't listen to naysayers and people telling you why you can't do something and that whole thing. And then also that concept of there is no plan B, because if there's a plan B, you're not going to necessarily move forward. Like, you just basically have to create a reality where there's one path that is the option, and that's what you're going to do.
Yes.
Yeah. So that makes sense.
I wanted to ask, like, one of the common theme on this show, especially, is talking about partnerships and what role each of the partners play. So when you think about you and Stefan and Sockerbit, what's your realm? What's his realm? Where do you overlap? What is that like? Because you have such a successful partnership, and I think there's a lot that our listeners could emulate.
Stefan is more practical. He's very Swedish in many things. So he takes care of everything that is, for me, the boring side of the business. Anything that is numbers and regulations. And we have a lot of that because we deal with food and we import everything. So that's been a big part of it. And he is the one that is handling all that. He also does all our relationship with our suppliers. We had, the same suppliers for 15 years. And, we change here and there with one or another because our products change. But so he does all that, like more numbers, more practical things, anything that is regulations. I've been doing more the store. Like, I work more with my staff, which I love and I'm very grateful. I do all the creative part. I have a lot of people that help me, and not a lot because we are a small team, but everybody helps. And I always share everything I do. If we design a new packaging, I always share with everybody in my team, even if it's, people that I have packing my orders. When we develop something, we always have everybody's eyes on it. You'll be surprised. People that has no clue of anything, they always see something that you don't see. So I think that's been the things that I do the most is more creative. I curate what we get for the store sometimes, by mistake, and like just try one thing and then try another thing. I don't have any special power. It's just like you just give it a try, and it's been like that for all the time, like forever. It's never a perfect pick at the beginning. Many times when we started, I was like, oh my God, that store that has the perfect things. Like, how did they pick everything? How did they pick like this thing to go with this, But the more you do it, it's just like, your customers every day a little bit more, and you just curate what you have, the more you know them. So it's basically that, and I love that part. So where we overlap, I always run on Stefan's eyes, because he's very practical. Sometimes I could be a little bit more dreamy. I'm like, how we can do this, and this is so beautiful. And Stefan's like, that is not going to work. And I was like, okay, so this is my simple version of it. And then he's like, okay, let's just try with that. So it's always, we tone up and down each other. I see also all the regulations that we go through, and we do that together. I'm a more Latino in that sense. I'm more light sometimes on things like, oh, that's fine. We just fill out the form and then that's it. Let's just do it. Stefan thinks like 5 steps ahead. And I'm like, well, let's just do this. So I think it's more like that middle, like the tone up or down each other. And I think that's what makes us a good team, because otherwise, if both of us are on only numbers, or both of us are just only dreaming of potential things to do and like delusional stuff, then it can ruin your business.
Yeah. We notice that comes up a lot, and it makes perfect sense. It's like staying in your lane of expertise, and allowing the other person to do what they're best at and that kind of thing, which is not always easy, especially when you're in a relationship as well, and there's all that constant overlap.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty admirable that you guys are able to work so well together on it and kind of follow those guidelines with how you work. Yeah. On the topic of Swedish Candy, why do you think Swedish Candy is having such a moment this year? Why is suddenly everyone getting what you sold me on so many years ago about what's so great about Swedish Candy? And maybe you want to talk about that for a quick second, just those traits of what makes it even different and special.
So basically the biggest difference is the ingredients. Sweden or Scandinavia, or in general, European candy mostly is made with very much clean ingredients. Still sugar, still not a healthy food. But if you're going to have a treat, you better try to get at least the best of the worst, right? So I think that's the main difference of Swedish candy. They have a big culture of candy that comes from long time ago. So adults and kids, everybody eats Swedish candy. They have it as a tradition. It's part of their culture. It's, like our kids only eat candy on the weekends. We have this thing that is Saturday candy. They don't think about candy the rest of the week. They wait for Saturday. They choose what they want to eat, and then that's it. Move on. And it's the same in Sweden. Everybody does that. Stefan did it when he was little. His mom did it when she was little. So it's like, that's the main thing. I think it's because it's consumed by so many people. It's still very good ingredients. Natural colors, no GMOs. It's a European regulation. So that's kind of like because of where they are. No trans fats, like all those things, and no corn syrup. The corn syrup is one of the biggest difference between European and American products. So you have it here. Yeah. So many American companies in Europe, like even like Fruit Loops. My kids don't eat Fruit Loops in America, but they can have it in the summer. It's made with natural colors and all the good ingredients, but it's nothing special about the Swedish candy. It's more about the regulations of the country, the regulations of Europe. So that's the thing. I think here what had happened is, internet and then TikTok and all this. I don't think it's nothing more than just a free marketing campaign for all of us that have this specific product. I think it's the same for anybody that has a new cream or a new gadget. If the algorithm pick it up, you're just lucky. You jump on the wave. It happened to be Swedish candy in January. And then that's, I think it's no more than a trend, but it's a good way for people, or for more people, to kind of like get exposed to something that it was, very hard for us when you're a small business. It's not that you can run like a huge marketing campaign and make the whole country aware of the option to have a better candy. So I think this was beneficial for everybody in a way to get exposed to more customers, and then to more, like a larger percentage of the population that we would have need like a huge marketing campaign. I don't think none of my other colleagues or, other companies that have Swedish candy now, I don't think we don't have that marketing power as, to be able to be on everybody's faces in one day to another. So
can I ask you like a blunt question? You can be like, no, I don't want to answer, Florence. But overall, like, since that trend happened, have your sales been up this year or continue to be up? Or are they relative to last year or before this trend started?
Yeah, this is not the first trend we have. And it's been happening. And I'm sure you see it also. Mm-hmm. Of course, your sales go up. Like somebody posts something and then you see, your web shop suddenly, if you have 2 orders last night and today you have 20, then you start looking, hey, what happened? Who posted? So I think everybody had, same for us. We did experience a bump, but we had experienced those bumps before. I think it's the same as I think what we see it is as, for example, in our business, holidays, so like Christmas, Easter, Halloween, those ones are the bumps that we see, that we know, oh, this is the time that we have more sales. We save up and then we try to survive, That's kind of like what you do when you're small. Mm-hmm. Like, at least for us, it's been like that. We know summer is very slow for us when it's very high season for you, for example, Jessica. Mm-hmm. So then winter, people will eat less ice cream. So then, it's the same. So sales go up always when those special events happen. We had other trends before and people that posted. And I think this time it was more general. Mm-hmm. And it was picked up for some reason by more press, Mm-hmm. So, but people is making like a big thing out of it. And it's great for a lot of small businesses. We know a lot of people that had no business before. We've been open for 15 years. We have a great customer base. And we've been trying to do the best we can. I know a lot of people got upset because all of a sudden you're so used to fulfill the orders within, one day. And then all of a sudden you have to say, I can't do it because we are 3-packing your orders. We have this small store. It was out of our hands, but not because it was, oh, wow. Like, no, it was more because nobody was ready. So It was kind of like a holiday in a not ready holiday scenario, like it was January. January is always slow for everybody. It's after Christmas. It's before Valentine's. It's like you kind of like in pause, you don't do anything. And all of a sudden you have this bump and it kind of like makes everything unstable in a way. So then I think everybody panicked for that.
Yeah. Totally makes sense.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe not everyone knows this either, but I feel like before I met you and tried your candies, I really didn't know what Swedish candy was. Like, I thought it was Swedish fish and licorice, like maybe salty licorice and Swedish fish. And that was kind of the extent of my understanding of Swedish candy. I didn't understand all the like kind of how it's a bit healthier than regular candy with the no corn syrup and no artificial colorings and things like that. But you guys have such a variety. There's such a huge variety of Swedish candy. And I was just kind of out of my own curiosity, like how many types do you guys carry and manage within your store?
Right now we have about 140 different ones.
Wow.
Also, the trend is with this specific brand of candy. So Swedish candy is much more than that. And so we have, 140, I guess. Right now, it kind of like moves up and down. We get, for example, now we have a limited offering on chocolates because it's so hot. Many years ago, we decided summertime, we just retire our chocolates collection because it's really hard to ship. Mm-hmm. It's not very good for the environment. No matter what you do, you need to use a lot of packaging, and still candy gets melted. Like we have some pictures from a few days ago, like a bag that went to Arizona, completely like a liquid. Like liquid Jello, like before you make Jello, it was like that.
You could just throw it back in the fridge and make it a big piece of candy.
There's no way, because if you leave the package outside, unless you ship it like with dry ice and like all the packaging that our candy is not expensive. So it's a really, for us when you're that small, it's really hard to control that. So we don't have a lot of chocolate now. So then I think we are about a little bit less on assortment because of that. We'll have more in the winter, and we'll have more between November and April, I think is when we have the most. We get all the Christmas and then all the Easter stuff. And that's a lot of production for those two holidays in Europe. So that's also why.
So I did look at all 140 of your candies earlier because I love candy. I also love doing research. So I was like, what are all of the names? And I saw that one of the candies was named Sockerbit. And so then I looked up I was like, okay, well, Sockerbit means something. So like, what does it mean, right? And apparently it means sugar cube in Swedish, right?
Yes.
Which I thought was awesome. And then you mentioned your packaging. I love the packaging design that you created for your assortment. And just like thinking about the name and how your brand comes together, I think that's something we should dig into. It's like, how did you decide on your name? How did you decide on the evolution of your brand? Since you're the creative, juggernaut here, I'd love to get your perspective.
I think, again, it's like try and error. Like you just try what works. I'm not a designer. So many times, like when we started, Sockerbit, yes, was a sugar cube, and it was the inspiration for our branding when we started. All our stores, like Sockerbit in New York, Sockerbit here, they're all white, and we use in our previous branding, we use the shape of that sugar cube marshmallow as a symbol. Like we kind of like move on a little bit from it because it was time to get a little bit of an update. But yeah, the idea was more to make focus on the candy. I'm very minimalistic also, so we wanted to just be like an adult environment than a kid's craziness, where only the color was on the candy, and then the rest should be more neutral and like kind of like a secondary. So I think that's the main design kind of like inspiration for us, was more like the candy is our star. We don't have anything else. It's just the candy that makes sense. So
you feel that in your store too. You really feel that when you feel that a lot when you go to your store. Dominic, I don't know if you saw photos of it, but I'm obsessed with just the design you guys did. They have this gorgeous, like everything is white with these very simple white candy dispenser things, and she's right. The only color is all the candy, and so it just draws you right into like, ooh, which one do I want? And there's no other distractions, and it's really cool. I love that minimalistic way that you guys approach that.
Thank you.
Oh, that's awesome.
We have a lot of work to do now, because COVID did kind of like shake us a lot in that sense. Like, we had to improvise. We have to cut the store in half to have the space for us to pack our orders. So it's a little bit, now it's not as pretty as it used to be, in my opinion. But, we working back towards to have a more clean space. But, you just do whatever you can. And we did that. Like one day they told you, yes, you can open. One day they said, no, you can. Yes, bulk candy, not bulk candy. We regulated by the health department. We get inspected once a year or twice a year, like surprise inspections. Like, I'm sure you have that too, Jessica. So you always kind of like do whatever they tell you. If, that's the Swedish part of my business. My husband is very by the rules. So we just do that, whatever they tell us. I'm like, oh, you can't have this. You have to move it. And, so it's been a little bit like a design challenge. But I think now we more on the safe side. So hopefully we'll get the store back to its beauty.
Yeah, it really was beautiful. I haven't been there in a while, but yes, it is gorgeous. And what was I going to say? I don't know. Sorry, I just lost my thought.
Well, I had a follow-up idea for you, Florence. Jessica, what you think about the thought? So if you're doing all of the shipping from the store, and when I was like going through all the candy, I was feeling Willy Wonka. I'm like, I didn't know that you could get like an egg candy that like it's like really amazing, and like all of the different flavors. So what if the shipping of the candy became part of the store experience, right? And it was like this part of like you would go in there and instead of trying to hide the shipping, it was like you come in there and the design of people and of the production side of it became part of it, because it does feel like a candy factory. I don't know. Maybe it's a bad idea, but
no, it is like that at the moment.
Yeah, cool. Well,
you can see it. Like we've done it. That's the only way we survived through COVID, and we have everything. Everything. People can see what we do. I always been very transparent. Even during COVID, we had like a lot of our customers calling in like with FaceTime, and we will just pick, because we were only working 2 or 3 people, whatever we had allowed, by the health department, the distance, in each workstation, and how we, it was crazy.
Wow. But, FaceTime candy shopping.
Yes. So online shopping, like one-on-one. So we did everything we could. So people can see what we do and how we do it. Now we kind of like playing around with the space and how we can make it more efficient, especially thinking of, the holidays and all this. But we had that. So your idea is the true thing.
Well, that's even better.
You guys were allowed to be open during COVID then, or no? I'm just curious.
Only for delivery.
Because we were able to stay open at Carmela.
Pick up and delivery.
Okay.
People couldn't come in and scoop themselves. So we scoop for the customers, and then they pick up. Mm-hmm. And then they allowed us to have a window open, and then people will come in like closer, like with the distance, the 6 feet or whatever it was. So that's why everything we moved around a million times, and to let people tell us, oh, this, and this, one of this. And like, it's not like you get one scoop. Some people will come in and say, I want 2 pieces of those little eggs. I want one of this, so it was challenging, but we survived.
Yeah. At Carmela, we were allowed to stay open during COVID. We never had to shut down because
that's amazing.
It was considered food. which I don't know why candy isn't if ice cream is, but
but you have to scoop for the customers.
That's true.
So then, like, this was a self-serving, all the salad bars, all the bulk candy, everything bulk everywhere was shut off.
That makes
like
sense.
All the buffet, we are considered like a buffet. You just come in and scoop. So
it's like a candy salad bar.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And you guys, I'm curious about a couple things. I'd love to hear. Everyone always loves to ask, like, what were the really, like, what was like some really hard moments with the business, or what points did you feel like, oh, this might not work, or like where you felt like something was a fail, not to be negative, but I think people always kind of like to hear about that because obviously you overcome it, and then that's inspiring to hear those stories. So does anything come to mind?
Yeah, I think, first of all, we tried to open a third store in Anaheim. We did open, and it was a bad choice. So we spent a lot of money that we never got back. So I think that was scary because, you make all this investment thinking of recovering in a certain pace, and that never happened. So it was worse and worse and worse. So we lost a lot of money there. COVID was a big challenge for us because there was the last 6 months of our lease in New York that we signed 10 years ago. And our landlord, since we were not going to renew our lease, we didn't get any help. So it was 6 months of no income. And we call our bank, our mortgage. We didn't know if we were going to make it. We didn't know because everything, we don't remember how fast things change because now internet seems so everyday life. But if you think only 5 or 6 years ago, it was not that common. Like it was, everybody had a web shop, but it was not like, in our business was not like 80% or 70% of our sales were not coming from online. It was like a little bit here and there, and you just had it like a slow website. And so we were just starting with that. And all our income was coming through our foot traffic, like people that came in the store. And it's been like that. New York is a walked city. So one day to another, all that is zero. And I promise you, I threw up of how sick I felt because then I was like, me and Stefan were like, well, this is it. Like
we're done.
We're done. Like this landlord was like, here's the rent. You have to pay. And I was like, there's nothing coming in. It was those first 2 or 3 weeks that the world stopped. Like everything got closed. Nobody knew what was the yes, what was the no. I think that was the scariest time because, I was like, I didn't know if I was going to be able to pay my mortgage. And then it's like, and then you have all this responsibility. You sign these contracts. You cannot just walk away. And we're not that American in that sense. You can't just declare, Chapter 11 or whatever it is, like, just bankrupt and go away. Like, so we had to pay 6 months of rent with zero income. That was hard. Like, it was tough.
Yeah. No, for sure. So
then we ended up closing our store in New York because we couldn't renew a lease in the middle of the pandemic. I couldn't fly. I was flying to New York before COVID once a month or twice a month or something, like just to work there. And then when COVID happened, there was no way you could travel. It's really hard when you're a small business to have like a team that is solid. Like it was the hardest thing ever.
Yeah. Are you guys on DoorDash or delivery apps?
We are in DoorDash only. Only DoorDash in Third Street. Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't go that far. Like
I know.
the problem is like a lot of people is like, oh, you don't deliver to my area, but they don't deliver further than a certain amount of miles. So
Yeah. And then I know at one point you guys were partnering with IKEA and having your candy sold in IKEA. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, it was not us as Sockerbit. My husband, like Stefan, helped another company to get it done. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was not part of Sockerbit, as you know, it was not Sockerbit supplying to IKEA. It was more like a side job for Stefan. Because of all the things he knew from before. So we did help a lot, and we install ourselves a lot of the IKEA ball candy. We travel all around the country to do it, but we just did it for another company just to help them out. Yeah.
Got it. Cool.
But they don't have any more ball candy.
Did that go away with COVID too?
Yeah, COVID, they shut them down. Like they shut all of them. US, we did all US and Canada, and everything got removed.
Yeah. Yeah. What a disruptive time. And now it firmly established you in LA, right? And with this online presence. So what's next for Sockerbit? What are you all excited to launch next or to work on next? What are you thinking?
I think we just want to get better at what we do. I think it's always now I think it's the time that we know what we can do and we know what we're better at. And I think we're looking forward to do more of things that we know we can do better. Like we're not very big in events. We do a lot of events, but it's not the core of our business. We do it as demand. So we always been very quiet about that. Like we have a lot of celebrity clients that we never, we chose from the beginning, even when we were in New York, that we had a lot of celebrities. We never posted anything. We never did anything like that. And we love that part of our business. We have a lot of people that trust us with their candy, and we will never use them. But I think a lot of people also wants to know what other people do for events. And so we are thinking on that. I think we're working on more of those little things that we can make, events a little bit more Swedish.
How do you do events currently? I don't know about that for you
guys.
So
we have candy stations. We have like a little, like candy walls that we do. We do a lot of custom prepackaged candy. A lot of people like to do their own custom mix. We do custom logos. We do a lot of those things for event like brand activations, and it's very easy. It's a very grab and go snack, and we do a lot of premieres like movie screenings, and people wants the candy to watch a movie. So, we did those like this one's like little candy bags like this. So then people can open and then close with the zipper. All those things that we've been updating, hearing the feedback, like people always want a plastic bag, but they want it with the zipper because you eat a few pieces and you want to put it back in your bag. So all those little things that we've been evolving, I think now we're ready to put it all in one package. And we also doing like a little collab with the beautiful ceramic studio here in Los Angeles. It's a woman-owned, and then Uni from Kimchi Avocado. It's another female founder. So we're doing this little collab to make this perfect kind of like holiday gift or corporate gift that we get, asked all the time. So I just didn't want it to be like anything standard. And then these two amazing ladies came up, and so we're doing this custom made selection for them, and we're just doing it all together. I'm very excited for that. So that's what is coming next. It's very beautiful.
Any other plans for additional retail expansion, or focusing on the other type of business for now?
Yeah, we can't, you always have your eyes on retail. I don't know if it's something that we always do. Like, I'm the kind of person that will walk in on open houses, and I still look for houses. It's like, it's like, so I think with retail, you always kind of like have that in the back of your mind. Like people always ask like, oh, are you going to open here? Are you going to open there? So we always have it there. We don't have anything ready or anything for sure. But yes, it's always a dream to have more locations. It's good for your customers to be closer if they love your brand. It's almost like an obligation. I wish I could be everywhere, but it takes a lot.
Yeah. Would you ever franchise or something like that, licensing agreements or anything?
We haven't, we do have requests of those kinds, but again, it's only Stefan and I, and there's this much you can take, and it's not our expertise, and you just have to be honest with what you can do. And we never made it this big, a lot of companies make it sound bigger than what it is, and we are not good at it. We're not, it's just us. So it's really hard to develop a franchise manual and to hire all the lawyers. This country, it's a lawyer's country. So you need to, like anything that you want to start on that end, it starts with the lawyer.
Yes, for sure.
And it's a lot of money. So we're still small business.
Yeah. Well, if you ever do, let me know, because I love your brand, and I think it's, I feel like it could do really well that way personally, but it would take a lot to set up at the beginning. As I know from my experience.
Maybe we should jump on a call.
Yeah, let's jump on a call after.
Yeah, business development. And
it's always, it's always happening. Like no matter, whenever you're not expecting it.
Yeah,
never stop.
And you do have that. I love your attitude of just trying things, which I think is hard to do, and sometimes for people. And I think it's great that you're just like open to trying things out and see what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, that's the fun of it, I think,
Yeah.
It's a luxury, I think, if you have that. But if you jump on the ride of entrepreneur and trying to do something for you, it's, at least for me, like when you have it, that's what makes your life exciting. That's what we live for. Like wake up and think, oh, maybe this could work. Okay, let's just try it next week and see, or at least think about it, like a few steps. And then if everything comes down, then it's fine. Then something else come up, and then you build it up again. And then, it's always something.
Riding the wave.
Yep.
Well, I think we're at our time. We've loved having you on the show. Florence, do you want to shout out website, social media, or, any events that you're doing soon?
Our website is sockerbit.com, of course. And, I have an amazing team that is packing all the orders with so much love. So that's always a very grateful way, for us to say thank you. Our Instagram is still, somebody the other day sent us a message that it's not fair that we still call our Instagram Sockerbit NYC. This was 15 years ago. Nobody had Instagram back then. So and that's where we founded our company. We started in New York, so that's why it's Sockerbit NYC. The other name, so whatever it is taken. And again, we're trying to run a business. I don't know how to change the names. I'm not very techy on that sense. So it's always like, try to get to Facebook. It's so it's a rabbit hole. So we never did it. So if somebody knows like that, but, so that's our Instagram and, our website events. I'm just doing this beautiful collab that I'm very excited. We're going to start posting it soon with Dumay and Kimchi Avocado. They're both amazing women, and I'm very excited to do that. I think it will be great. So any other entrepreneurs that they need corporate gifts, they can always look after that and contact us for that, I think. And thank you so much for this. I'm so excited. I love you, Jessica. I love your kids.
Aww.
And so I'm very excited of you doing this. And we love your ice creams. We're so grateful and so honored to be your friends and to have you as a neighbor. So it's always
likewise.
Very inspiring to see everything you do.
Oh, likewise. I thank you so much. That's so sweet. Please tell Stefan hello as well.
I will. Soon they'll walk in.
He's like, you're still doing this?
Yeah. And for all of our celebrity listeners, you can trust Florence and Sockerbit to be trustworthy and discreet, and they'll never blow your spot up. So put in your bulk orders now.
Never. Unless they ask me to do it, Otherwise, I would never do that.
Yes. That is awesome. Well, chat soon, Florence. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dominic. Nice to meet you. Jessica, I hope to see you soon.
Yes, let's get together soon.
Thank you so much.